A boss mom doesn't allow society to tell her that her goals no longer matter. She handles her business both inside and outside of the home. Welcome to the Boss Mom Movement Podcast with me, your host, Ashley White, where you'll hear me speak with millennial moms who have not allowed the title mom to stop them from achieving their goals. During this podcast series, we'll discuss how we balance it all and other mom-related topics. It's a space for all my bossy mamas, whether you're an entrepreneur, mama in corporate, or both. Being a boss mom isn't easy, but it's our lifestyle. So with that being said, all right, boss moms, let the movement begin. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Boss Mom Movement Podcast. It's your host, Ashley. Super excited to share the stage with my line sister. I know y'all probably like, okay, this is a Delta podcast by this point, but it is what it is. So I have my line sister Elaina here to talk about mothering or starting a family in a foreign place. So as you all can see the title at the bottom, new location, new life, who's this? So my line sister is a wife, a mother of two beautiful girls, HBCU graduate, obviously a member of Delta Sigma Theta, and definitely a working mom, but also entrepreneur mom with a new business that she has curated. So I am going to hand the floor to you, sis, to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Well, as she said, she pretty much summed me up in a nutshell, but I will say that I grew up a PK, a preacher's kid. My dad is a pastor, and you'll see why that's important later on in the show. But yes, I currently work a 40-hour week full-time for somebody else. And I come home and I'm a full-time wife and mother. And then I am currently pursuing my influencer dreams. So I just hit 3K today. What's up? Follow your girl. But no. Boom. I just started it October 21st of this year, the week before I came back from maternity leave. Well, 2 weeks before I came back from maternity leave. And I'm like, dang, why didn't it hit me before? But I feel like everything happens for a reason. So here we are. But like I said, she pretty much summed up everything. I'm excited to be here. I'm honored to be on this here Boss Mother. We're gonna switch it up today. It's the Boss Mother podcast. Come on,
accent, DMV.
Boss Mother. Nah.
But no, that's I feel like you. Like, why didn't I think of this before? I mean, well, I wasn't a mom before you were. This is baby number 2. But I feel like everything happens for a reason. You know, I came up with Boss Mom when I was pregnant with Riley, so sometimes, you know, it just takes us a little bit more time to come to our senses of, you know, what our purpose is and what we want to do. So I'm excited for you and to watch you on this journey. I think it's going to be great. And you already are a character anyway. So, you know,
I be trying to tell everybody, like, if y'all don't know me in real life, like, I'm really funny in real life. Like, I'm not doing this for likes and laughs. Like, this is literally me getting in front of the camera, like, oh, let me create this real quick because
this is what you do anyway.
Right. Exactly. Why not record it? You know, it inspires somebody through my funny, laugh at my pain.
Right.
No Kevin Hart. Sorry. No.
And you know, I was hitting you up. I'm like that Ducks video. Listen, you know, I was already hitting you up about breastfeeding anyway. So when these ducks get too full, like that video was definitely spot on. So,
girl, and it happened again yesterday, and I went to fight.
But anyway, let's get into it. So I wanted to start with just moving from the East Coast to Oklahoma. I mean, the DMV and Oklahoma are definitely like night and day. So like, how was that? Just, I guess, the thought of her, the prep, and maybe you want to give the backstory to you and Donovan's relationship and how that formed, and then move into how that even came into discussion about you moving.
Okay, so quick backstory. We met in 2012, right after we crossed Delta. His cousin is actually my line sister. So we had a collegiate conference. Well, our line sister. Sorry. We had a collegiate conference in Atlanta, and we all attended. And he drove her to Atlanta. So in him driving her to Atlanta, of course, he was there. So, you know, the whole line, like, oh, who is that? Who is that? And I'm like, let him tell it. I wanted him then, but I did not at all. But anyway, so that was in the summer. I think that was in June. I want to say that was, because it was AGP weekend. So it was June of 2012. And then September of 2012, we had... put a pin in it. Well, not put a pin in it, but just so y'all know, like we were road trippers. Like me and a group of us, like we was on the road. We had did the Tom Joyner Step Show in Orlando that same day, and then we doubled back and drove to Tally. We drove to Tally that like right after we got back from Orlando to Daytona. We drove to Tally and went to party with Beta Alpha. Yep, that same like we was
that same day.
Same day.
But like, I feel like it was a lot going on. Like, you talking about during the conference you guys went back?
No.
Oh.
This is in September. This is like after.
Fast forward.
Fast forward. I'm sorry. Yeah, so fast forward to September. We had the Tom Joyner Step Show that morning. So we did the Tom Joyner Step. It was a Tom Joyner family reunion, and we did the Step Show, and then we drove back to Daytona, packed up, and went to Tally, which is like a 3-hour drive from Daytona, I think. And he was stationed at Eglin Air Force Base, which is about an hour and a half from Tally. But his family is from Quincy, Florida, which is 15-20 minutes from Tallahassee. So he came to the club or whatever. And from then on, like we just became really good friends. I later found out that he had a girlfriend at the time, but there was no foul play. Like it was just really good, genuine friendship. Like we would talk here and there. I eventually got a boyfriend. He eventually got engaged or whatever. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. And then in 2014, that's when that didn't work out. And I never forget, he called me or whatever. And I'm like, boy, get off my phone. Like, we're not doing this. And he was like, the wedding is off. And I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like the friend in me was like, dang. But also I'm like, okay. I was like,
so what's up?
Okay. Pull up in the, no, it's like, but no, really? So, that was the end of 2014. He was actually deployed at that time. So then fast forward to 2015, another one of his cousins who is also a Delta, she graduated from Howard Law School, and that's pretty much where it began. I went to see him in DC because he came in for the graduation. So I went to see him, and literally from that day forward, we talked every single day. Like there was not a day that went past that we didn't talk. So we went on our first date to New Orleans. I got flued out.
Okay.
He flew me to Dallas, and then we road tripped to New Orleans, which was great. I think that was good because it allowed us to talk and really, you know, yes, we knew each other on a friend level. We weren't together at that point yet. On the way there, we came back together, but you know, it gave us the opportunity to talk or whatever. But this is not what this is about. So we got together in September, and he basically was like, I'm not trying to do long distance. His previous relationship was long distance, and my previous relationship was long distance. And we both kind of agreed, you know, we weren't going to do long distance. Now, for me, the move was easy. I was trying to get out of the DMV. I felt like I was kind of stuck there. I was actually working at our sorority's headquarters. I had been working there since I graduated from college with another job, you know, just whatever. And so I didn't really have anything going on there that I had to stay. Like, yes, my parents are there, but I didn't have anything that I was fully committed to that caused me to have to stay. And one thing about me, I'm very, well, not as much anymore, but I'm very spontaneous. Well, I used to be very spontaneous. So when he was like, move to Oklahoma, I'm like, say less. Like,
right.
When am I moving? So we got together in September. I moved in November. Okay. Just like that. I prayed about it. You know, I interviewed. I went for Veterans Day. I interviewed, and I got 3 jobs actually hired on the spot. My current job, and then I worked somewhere else up until. So if I moved in November, I think I only worked there until like January or February, because my hours switched from 8 to 5 to like 2 to 11 or something crazy. So yeah, that was that. I didn't really have any issues. Like, he flew out to DC. We drove to Florida for Thanksgiving, stayed in Florida for a week, and then drove from Florida to Oklahoma. And that's pretty much how it started. Mm-hmm.
So well, you said you were spontaneous, so you probably like, this is a breath of fresh air, like, because, you know, people ask me too, like, how you move from Florida to Illinois? And I'm like you said, wasn't committed to anything. And I'm like, I'm young, I don't have a family yet, might as well explore, like, and just go for it. So I can definitely, you know, relate to you in that aspect of just picking up and going and seeing where it takes you. Like, so y'all got married. So when you moved in November 2019, y'all got married.
2015.
Why am I saying 2019? Yeah, 2015. And then you guys got married in
September of 2017. So I moved September of 2015. We got engaged November of 2015, got engaged September of 2016, and the wedding was September of 2017.
So moving
and
out
then
there,
I got pregnant.
Look, that's what I was about to say. So moving out there, I mean,
October.
obviously nobody gets at that point. We out of college, like, we really aren't getting into relationships at that point, expecting things to not work out. So you went out there with intentions on, this is possibly where I can start my family.
I went out there, like, I used to tell them all the time, I didn't move to Oklahoma to be a girlfriend. Like, no.
Hello.
Not at all. But I mean, like, we talked about so much prior to me moving. Like I said, he was like, you know, I don't want to do long distance. He's like, it's no breaking up. It's no taking breaks. Like, we either in it or we're not. So there was just so much about him that was just so different than what I was used to. He's a true gentleman. Like, he opens doors. I don't pump gas. Like, he's a true country gentleman or whatever. So and he's very dominant, and that was different for me because I was always the dominant ones in previous relationships. So to see him being dominant but not controlling, that was cute. That was cute for him. Like, I'm like, okay, I see you. Okay, take lead. Okay. Right. So, you know, that definitely made it easier. But my dad was not happy. Like, I never forget, I felt some type of way. I don't even think I've ever told him, but I'm gonna run it back and tell him. The night we left for Florida when I moved from DC. We left at like 2:00 that morning. He did not pray with us, nothing. I'm just like,
that is like, this is what you want to do?
I was like, but eventually he came around. I mean, and I completely understand, like, this is somebody you don't know. I had just gotten out of a relationship earlier that year, but, you know, a lot of times we kind of are just going with emotions towards the end of relationships, like they're over before they're over. So it was kind of like one of those things. So I had already kind of mentally tapped out or whatever. So he's like, well, dang, you know what I'm saying? Y'all just broke up less than 6 months ago. This is my interpretation of maybe what he's thinking. He never told me this. So I understood his reserves or whatever, but I'm grown. Like, yeah. But baby, when I say he stopped paying my insurance, stopped paying my car note.
Dang, Daddy. You ain't gotta do me like that.
I'm like, okay.
Well, you know, I guess being a parent now, right? It's like we understand. I mean, granted, our kids are still small, but that, you know, once we get to that point where they're older and making their own decisions, it's like I can see how you may feel like that. But at the same time, like you said, I'm grown. You gotta go and live your life and make your own decisions, own mistakes. If it
and
was,
trust how you raised me. Like, trust
right.
that you raised, like, trust your parents and trust how you brought me up. Like, you know, I'm not about to be out here wilding. And if it were to be something crazy, you know, I'd have moved back.
Right.
Like,
period. And you gonna welcome me back. Open arms. But no, so y'all got married, you got pregnant. So how was that being away from your loved ones, like, you know, close family and friends? And because I don't know how many friends you had at that point, or you know, close people in OKC, but how was that?
So honestly, it really wasn't bad. And I say that because technology is amazing. Of course, this was pre-COVID. So, you know, we visited a few times while I was pregnant in Florida and DC. I will say, though, wedding planning and dress shopping and stuff was... I was kind of sad that I did all of that by myself because, you know, I didn't have anybody here. But as far as like the pregnancy and stuff, it seemed like it went so fast. And I wasn't like a needy pregnant person. Like, I wasn't sick. I didn't have morning sickness. Like, I had a really easy pregnancy with Dylan. I had a really, really easy, well, Dylan and Dallas. So it wasn't really, I wasn't like, oh, I wish somebody was here to rub my feet, or, because, you know, Diamond was very attentive as well. But again, I wasn't really like a needy pregnant person. So it really didn't bother me. When Dylan was born, my mom, his mom, and his sister, they were here because I got induced with Dill. They were here when she was born. Like, they were all in the delivery room. And then my mom stayed for a month, and his mom and sister stayed for 2 weeks. So, you know, they were here. I had that immediate family attention. And literally, when Dylan was born, I promise you, no lie, we had a visitor every month, sometimes 2 to 3 times a month, up until February, I think. February, President's Day. When is President's Day? February, right? Yeah. Or no, it's January.
Because MLK is January.
Yeah, so up until February, because I remember Mandy came, that she was like the last person. And then, of course, we had after that, but literally the first 7 months of her life, somebody was there at some point. So, you know, we still had that family feeling, that family connection, because people were always there. And then, like I said, with technology, like always FaceTiming and stuff like that. So it really wasn't hard.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see how that can make a transition like that smoother. Do you think that if they weren't visiting like that, that it would have been a little bit more complicated, being that you were a first-time mom?
No, I don't know. Like, I'm really
so basically,
Elaina
a boss. Like,
no, it's like I'm really like a go with the flow type person. So I don't know. I guess it would have had to have been situational. Because even with Dallas, his mom came out for 2 weeks after she was born. Like, I think she came out the second week, her week 2, and she was here for 2 weeks. So I mean, and then like I said, like, we always had family, and then like, oh my gosh, just the support prior to, like, just all the gifts and diapers and money and gift cards and stuff like that makes you feel warm too, you know, like having that support from so far away. But yeah, so.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I could see that. And then you already had time to adjust to the move anyways before bringing Dill into the picture. So I could see that just kind of transitioning pretty smooth for you. I don't know, because I'm like, man, when I had Riley, I'm like, I don't know if I could have did it outside of Atlanta. Like, but I think, you know, depending on just your personnel, like how you are, because I was like, So y'all want me to leave the hospital and do what?
It's definitely, it's been a blessing because their babysitter is like cream of the crop, top. Like, she's the bomb. And we took Dylan to her when Dylan was 6 months. So from 6 months on up until now, she has Dallas too. Like, she always gives us breaks. She's like, oh, you know, y'all want me to keep the girls. Sometimes she asks for extra money. Sometimes she doesn't. One time, Donovan and I couldn't get off. She took Dylan to Dallas with her for her birthday trip. Like, Dallas, the city, is 3 hours away, but they rode the train or whatever. And she spent her birthday with Dylan and her family. And like, she loves kids, but she a little bit more partial to our kids. But, you know, and that was a blessing. That was definitely a blessing. Like, I can't say that I would be okay if she wasn't in our lives, because outside of her, we have another friend who would get deal, but she has a baby now. So with 2 kids, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. How was it finding a nanny?
So this was her second babysitter, second daycare rather. The first one, it was kind of like last minute. I need to get back to work. And I mean, the lady seemed cool initially, but we took her out after 2 months. We took her out after 2 months and was just like, Okay. And then my mom came and kept her for a month and a half, and then she started in January with her current sitter now. But we only had one bad run, and it wasn't bad. We could talk offline about that, but you know, but
just
yeah, wasn't a fit for my family.
But no, I'm like, when it gets to that point, like I'm not in a rush because I work from home. So I'm just like, hey, you know, grandparents, me, your dad, we here in the house. So I'm kind of like thankful because I honestly don't even know how it would be, especially now. I mean, with COVID, like I'm like, too many folks sending you to daycare, kids already sickly.
That's why I always, even pre-COVID, I always wanted a home daycare. Like, those centers are just so big,
and then like the stories you hear, or even just watching the news, it's like, if that was my kid, like, not to say that it can't happen at a home center, but yeah,
we ain't even going to put that in the atmosphere.
Well, I'm glad you were able to have, you know, find a sitter that you could trust, and having your family be able to come out there. Because I think about people, like, sometimes people are scared to go and start new life, in a sense, right? In a place that you don't know and don't have family or friends. So it's good to see that your transition worked, you know, for you, and you end up being able to start your family, and you guys are still out there, you know, and I've seen you build your community of close people there. How was that? I mean, you're friendly, in my opinion, anyways, like meeting new people.
So that's funny you said that, because after I had Dylan, I changed a lot. Like, I wasn't as social. Like, I kind of got social anxiety. Like, if I was around too many people, I would kind of like shut down. One of our friends out here, Rachel, she used to call me Cuddles, because like when I first met her, like I was just real touchy-feely. I'm like, hey girl, it's one of Donovan's friends, but I felt like I knew her because he would talk about her and stuff. So I'm like, hey, and so she called me Cuddles because she's not a touchy person at all. And she's like, who is this? Like, I don't even know her. Why is she touching me? But now, like, I barely even want people looking at me like, no, like, oh, hey, how you doing? But I'm breaking back out. I was in a thrift store the other day, and I just randomly started talking to this lady. I was like, hey, do you follow Thrift and Tell? It's a lady who on Instagram.
I follow her too.
Love her, girl. I was in there trying to put stuff together. I'm like, I'm gonna have to do this later. But the lady just looked like she thrifted, and I'm like, do you follow her? She was like, yeah, but I got a page too. So now we connected, and I'm like, okay, you know, and it's helping me get back into a new normal me, because I literally lost myself so much just being a wife and a mom. And yeah.
Did you go through postpartum?
Mm-hmm. With Dylan, yeah. And honestly, I don't know if you saw my post, but I was not happy
with Dallas
when I got pregnant with Dallas. Like, I literally stopped taking my birth control to get like a cleanse, because like I had been on it for almost 3 years. So I always try to like do a cleanse. And the thing is, when I stopped taking it with Dylan, I stopped in July. I didn't get pregnant until October. Baby Dallas said, "What's up? Pull up."
Right.
I stopped in October and got pregnant in November. And I'm talking about like mid-October, not even like the beginning of October. So
I hear it flushes out like as soon as you stop taking it. I don't know how true that is.
Flush out. Well, that's what everybody said, like you're more fertile when you stop taking it, but it didn't do that in July. But I also, like, I feel like everybody says when you're trying, it doesn't happen. And we were trying for Dale, but then it just happened. But we were not trying for Dallas. Listen, girl. But here lately, like with the whole influencer page and stuff, like it's helping me help myself through helping others and just, shedding my light or whatever like that. And I've been able to, not slip back into postpartum depression or whatever. And I don't even want to claim that it was postpartum depression. I think it was like more so like postpartum anxiety, because it was never anything, like I never felt like I wanted to harm the baby or anything like that. I just wasn't myself anymore. Like I just lost sight of who I was, like, and I didn't feel pretty. And Donovan is very, very like, oh baby, you're beautiful. Like even now I got this little pouch and he's like, oh, I just love this, like give me some extra grab on. I'm like, boy, get off of me. But
he's silly. But I feel like postpartum depression, like you don't have to necessarily think about hurting the baby, because I think I felt like that too. Like I don't, I love my baby, I don't wish no harm on him at all, but I feel like I have had those times. I don't think it was like just a month straight I was just unhappy, but it's definitely something like kind of like up and down
here and there, yeah,
so I definitely.
But then to go back to what you asked about not really having people here, that was another thing that it was okay before I had kids, because it was me and Donovan. If Donovan went somewhere, I had some time to myself. But I really, and I still don't, but I didn't have a social group. And like you said, I'm a people person. I was very social, so I was always on the scene, always life of the party type, you know what I'm saying? Right. So that was something that also bothered me, and I think that played a part in it as well, because I literally didn't have an outlet, which again is why I started this influencer page, along with God just telling me in the shower, and I was like, okay, we go. So but yeah.
No, I definitely agree. And I think like, because obviously I'm home in Atlanta, so I do have a community, but also having a pandemic baby, which both of our babies were born in that area, it's like you don't even want to go outside because you don't want to bring anything back to your babies or get sick yourself. But that's my first mind is him. Like I don't want to bring anything back to him. And being that we both breastfeed, it's just like that's a connection and a tie to the child on its own. So just not even having that outlet to even just have mommy time, adult mommy time, without, especially if you do, I guess in a sense, have a break going to work, but then that's work, but it's time away from being home. But right, I get what you're saying. But that's social time. I think that's definitely important. So I thought you had a social group there. Not for real.
So all my friends here, for the most part, are Donovan's friends, with the exception of like 3. One of them does not go anywhere at all whatsoever, even pre-pandemic. One of them, she's a soror. She just moved. Excuse me. And then another one, she's a soror, and she has, I'm talking about like that I talk to all the time. She's a soror, and she actually has a 3-year-old and a 5-month-old. So her oldest daughter is 4 months older than Dylan, and then her new baby is a month older than Dallas. Like, we were due like a few weeks apart, where we didn't even know until, you know, we both announced that we were pregnant. But so like we do stuff together. So like if I do stuff at the house with the kids or whatever, but we like I'm not a drinker, so there's a lot of lounges and stuff here, and that's just not my scene. Like, I'm more of a game night, like, let's do some dances type line. Like, I just like, you know, chill fun or whatever. And, you know, I was always on a Greek scene, so kickbacks were my thing. Like, that was, I loved a good kickback. Some Rotel, some wings, some pizza, you know, some baby shower food. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, that's not it now. Like, but I hope that, you know, now that you're getting out of your shell, even with your influencing, that you'll be able to form that community socially. I
definitely have some plans for this journey, like events, giveaways, like, it's some stuff in the works. I just gotta pace myself, because, you know, my pockets ain't matching with my brain, so it's like, slow down.
Same here. For the boss mom. Well, because I want you to, you know, talk a little bit more about your influencing. But before we get into that, is there any, you know, advice that you may have for young women, whether they're mom yet or not, that's looking to just have a fresh start, whether they're in a relationship or not, starting fresh without and don't have, you know, that family or friend group wherever they may want to go. Because I actually know a young mom who she just wanted a fresh start, and she moved, and it seems to be going well for her. But, you know, being that you've done it, what do you have, like, any advice to leave for the ladies?
So if you are a mom and you have a village, I would definitely weigh out the pros and the cons of moving. Like, are you moving because you're trying to move away from like an abusive situation or something? Okay, go ahead, take your child, get away from that toxicity. However, if you're just moving, like, just to like, oh, I just want to go somewhere new, try to establish your village, or, you know, try to establish stuff before you go. If you're going to an area where you know people-ish, like, for example, if I were to move to Atlanta, I would be straight. If I were to move to most cities in Florida, I would be straight. You know what I'm saying? Because we have family there. I have, you know, people that went to Cookman with us, sorority sisters, line sisters, pro fights, that I would trust, you know, with my children, if we wanted to go on a date night or something like that. But I would definitely try to establish that village, even if it's just one person. You know, they have nanny sites that are certified. Care.com, I think, is the one. I would, you know, start looking up people on Care.com. They'll come to your house, you know, watch the kids at the house if you don't feel comfortable with them being out there. So I would definitely establish some type of kind of support system before you go. Definitely check out the areas, because you don't want your child in bad areas or whatever. But I mean, ultimately, if we were to granted, you know, I'm married and, you know, we're stable or whatever like that, but if we were to have to up and move, I would be okay with that. Because I mean, it's life. But I guess the biggest advice would be to establish that village, or try to establish that village. Familiarize yourself with, you know, people, if you can. Like, social media, one thing I will say about social media, I've met so many people, you know, while starting this influencer journey, because I can be myself again. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm literally in these people inboxes, like, I've known them for years, like, yes sis, yes girl, telling my life story, and I know they're probably like, hold on. And I'm like,
but
I'm
people
so
like
sorry.
that relatability though. So
Yeah. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I was like, once somebody is talk to me, we friends in real life, like, you know what I'm saying? So, but I mean, that's definitely, you know, that was me in real life. Like, if I ever talked to somebody one time or came in contact with somebody one time, especially like at Cookman,
right?
Who didn't know Lainey?
Right?
Who didn't know me?
No, that's true. Exactly. That's why I'm like so shocked to hear you say, you know, you've gotten out of that shell. But I'm glad you have seen the light and getting back out.
Yep. So I mean, just make sure it's the right thing for you. Make sure, you know, you're moving, like I said, with a plan, with some prior knowledge or, you know, information about where you're moving and things like that. But ultimately, I feel like getting out of your hometown, if you can, regardless of what point of life you're at, sorry, y'all, is a good thing. I didn't want to stay, like the DMV is huge. Like it's a bunch of opportunities there for what I went to school for, mass communications. Like it's so many opportunities there, but I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to raise my kids there. Like, thank the Lord I made it out, but baby, it's ghetto. I was very much a product of my environment all through high school, middle school, elementary school, but I can't. I don't look like what I've been through. Like,
you silly. No, that's good though. I mean, I know OKC is definitely a lot slower than the DMV,
definitely,
and seems to be a more quiet environment to raise a family. So, well, that's good. So hopefully, ladies, if there's any place you want to explore, like Lainey said, have a village or try to create as much support that you can before moving. But also, like, I'm all for new starts and starting new things and seeing where life takes you, because you never know until you step outside that box. And even though I am now back home starting my family, I did take that leap of faith. I could have very well met somebody else somewhere else and started my family outside of Atlanta. So you just never know. And there are endless opportunities out there. So I appreciate you for sharing, your story and how it went for you. And hopefully that ignites fire under someone else's or another mom's belt to just get out there and see what opportunities are there for you. And I always say, don't be moving without no job, because
oh yeah, most definitely secure a job before you move. That, like, Diamond was like, oh, you can move without a job. You can move without a job. I'll take care of what. It's a no for me. So I'm gonna come visit and do these interviews. But like I told everybody, I did some phone interviews. Like I was applying. And yeah, so here we are.
Unless you're an entrepreneur and you can uproot your business, but no, I definitely agree. And I appreciate you for sharing. So as you all see in the name titles, Lainey has started her influencing business. So I do want you to share because it is surrounded around motherhood as well. So I'll give you the floor for that.
All right. So HERStoryMuvas. You can't tell history without her story. So our story always comes first because we birthed the world. But anyway, that's kind of where the name came from, her story. You can't tell history without her story. And it's literally, and mothers, because that's just how the ghetto people say mother in the DMV. So HERStoryMuvas, I literally, like, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I got to tell this story on Sunday, but, well, I don't care. So it happened on a Thursday. So maybe like Tuesday, I was in the pantry and I was just crying because, ooh, baby, my 3-year-old, I thought she was trying to take me out in real time when the baby came. Like, ooh, different topic for another day. But I was like in the pantry crying. I'm just like, Lord, whatever it is that you have for me, like, please, I'm ready to receive it. I'm ready to walk in it. Like, whatever it is, I'm ready. No lie. 2 days later, I'm in the shower and he was like, this is what you're going to do. You're going to start an Instagram, and people are going to tell their birth stories. They're going to tell their stories. And I'm just like, okay, because I went on live and told my birth story on Facebook Live when Dallas was born, because that was wild.
Wow.
And just the feedback and the feedback and everything, like even the anticipate, like I was like, hey, I'll tell my birth story Sunday at this time, blah, blah, blah. And everybody's like, oh, I can't wait. So I'm like, okay. And then just the interaction, the engagement, the feedback. I'm like, people like birth stories. Okay, cool. So then I literally got out the shower. It was like 10:30, 11 o'clock. I made the logo on Canva. I made the email address. I started the page. Like I was writing up what the page was going to be about. And I'm like, why just keep it at birth stories? Like we're going the whole yard. Fertility issues, infertility issues, IVF, like miscarriages, stillborn, like the whole nine. Like I want all the stories. Like if women are comfortable sharing those stories, I'm taking it. Postpartum depression, pregnancy, complications, parenting, like I want it all, because I want for women to come to this page, yes, to get a laugh because I'm funny in real life, but to have a community where, if they're not mothers yet, like, oh, I remember on Lainey page, somebody had this or somebody went through this while they were pregnant. Let me go on here and see if this is the same thing that I might have. You know what I'm saying? So, or, if somebody had, like this one girl, oh my goodness, she reached out to me like within the first 2 days, I think it was, of the page. She has 5 miscarriages. And she finally had a baby, and her pregnancy was horrible. And then she still had the baby early, and she was just like, this is it. You know what I'm saying? This is my rainbow baby times 5, so, right. And it's just like the for people who've never met me, maybe only know me in passing from college or high school, whatever, like people have told me that they've had miscarriages within the last 2 months. People have told me that they're pregnant and they haven't even announced to their friends and family yet. And I'm just like, me, little old me. Right. But that's the goal. Like I am very transparent. I don't try to sugarcoat anything. I've never ever tried to sugarcoat anything. Like I remember I used to always post on Facebook about how funky my underarms were in the summertime. And I could not like that shit. Like I could not find a deodorant regimen, and I finally found one. And I no lie, somebody wrote me this past summer and they were like, hey Lainey, I remember a few years ago you posted about your underarms, and what did you use? And I'm like,
but see, that's the beauty of it, that relatability, because a lot of times people feel like no one went through it or they're embarrassed to share. So, and
that's what I want people to know. You are not alone. You're not the only one who's been through this. You're not the last one who's going to go through this. And I just want people to know, especially, and so, okay, so here's the thing. Yes, it is a community dedicated to all women and all mothers, but I'm a Black mother, and we don't have communities, like other mothers do. So I wanted to build this community to give us the opportunity to share stories. I've linked people, in the same cities. I'm promoting Black businesses. I'm promoting white businesses. Like if it's something that you may need as a mother, something you may not need. I mean, if it's lip gloss, I don't care if you're selling flip-flops. Like, I just want women to be supported. Like, that's my main goal, is to have a support group for women as it relates to all things motherhood. Because, like I said, the way this 3-year-old is trying to take me out.
Listen, Dylan be on the move.
Oh, child.
I'm gonna pray. Because, what did she put on the walls?
I just wanted to.
I'm not ready for Ryan to start walking.
No. She said, no, I just wanted to make handprints.
Oh, bless her heart.
But I haven't cried as much. Like when she was first born, I guess I was just really hormonal too. So I used to cry a lot, like a whole lot.
When Dale was born?
When Dallas was born.
And I appreciate, I did see your story. I appreciate you sharing that because, again, everybody doesn't get instantly excited, about having a baby, whether it's the first, second, third, fourth, depending on the situations that they may be going through. And so I'm sure a lot of people didn't know that. I didn't know that. But I'm sure you touched somebody, and I'm sure someone else out there felt the same way. I know somebody right now that's feeling that way, and I'm actually going to I told her, because it was I found out about her situation right after I read about yours. So I'm actually going to send that to her, just to, help her get out of the funk. But I also have somebody who I think would be good, has a good story to tell about her pregnancy. She's actually on here. She shared it here, but I think it would be good to share on your platform as well. Okay. So definitely. Right. And see, this is what it's about: connecting other moms, building this community. Mm-hmm. So I'm definitely going to share, but I appreciate you for sharing what your platform is on. So hopefully it takes some people from my audience over to yours, and maybe you'll get someone else besides the person that I want to send over to you that may want to share a story too. So, or just learn from yours.
Anything you could think of as it relates to motherhood. I have someone who chose to be a single mom, she went through IVF or whatever, that was her choice. And she's not ready to tell her story yet, but I cannot wait, because there's a whole community of women who choose that option, and it is okay. Because I used to tell my mom all the time, I knew I wanted kids. I knew I've always wanted kids. And if I wasn't married by a certain age, I told my mom, I was going to find somebody who was good looking with good genes and just have a baby. Because,
right.
But, and I said it jokingly but serious, but you don't have to be, it is 2022. You don't have to be married to have a baby. You don't have to have a man to, have a baby. If you want that love of a child, that is an option. And people need to know that that's an option. Not just people struggling with fertility, that option is available for. If you want to have a baby, have a baby.
Right. Because it is one of the best titles you can have. So
it is. It's ghetto, but
look, okay, because what? My baby only going on 6 months, and I'm just he's now getting all active and stuff, and I'm just what in the is going on? And working too, so that's definitely a balance in itself. And then add on other titles like wife, and you gotta take care of the home. So
I will say though, Donovan is super helpful. When I was pregnant, towards the end of my pregnancy, he got a cleaning company to come in and clean every other week, which was so appreciated. But they ain't really do nothing. So I need y'all to fold these clothes, get these baseboards, okay. So we got rid of them, and we are looking for another one. But he cooks pretty much every night. All the meals are prepared by him for the most part. And I appreciate that so much, because it's nice that I'm so either Dylan getting bathed or Dallas getting bathed. And Dallas, you just threw up all over yourself. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and bathe you, and you booed up your back. But Dylan, you ain't go nowhere today but to the babysitter. So I think you'll be good without a bath. We just give you a little bird bath in the sink and call it a
Listen, okay, because there be times where I'm dinner?
I'm Donovan, which one? You want to eat something else?
Right. Okay. But no, I appreciate you coming on and
thank you for having me. I'm so proud of you. I definitely am. I can't wait to see where this goes. That's what I said. Send people my way. I'm definitely we gonna figure this out.
Right.
Everybody coming with me.
Right. Because one day these 9 to 5s, 8 to 5, 9 to 5, whichever one it is.
Listen, so one of the influencers that I follow, I purchased her ebook or whatever. Tina Meeks, her Instagram is Her Life Sparkles.
Yep.
When I say baby bossed up, being an influencer, I'm talking about bossed up. She made $500,000 this year in influencing. She had 50,000 followers last year, and she's over 100,000 followers now. But she did like 80-something brand, probably more than that. Did all these brand campaigns or whatever like that. And she literally said, if you are starting this influencing thing just for the money, don't do it. And that's the thing. I feel like I have a gift. Like I've always apparently been a person that people gravitate to, you know, they feel comfortable with, and I've always cherished that. And so would I love to get on her level and become an influencer that's making stupid money? Yes, I would. I would love to, because I would love to work for myself and, you know, be able to travel and, you know, do all of that stuff, and not have to worry about, oh, do I have vacation or who's off this week because I can't take off. Like, yes, I would love that. But my main goal with this is to encourage, uplift, educate, comfort. Like, my first giveaway was for Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. I gave 2 mugs away. I did 2 because I just felt like I started in October. Why not? Like, and I just want people to feel loved and cared about. So like I said, yes, the goal is to, you know, all of that. But if a little bag come with it, I'll take it. Okay, because we'll say no to no money. No, well, you know, the right. Look, that didn't come out right. Yeah, all money ain't good money, but
but
I get what you're saying.
This is obviously something good, and if you can benefit monetary wise, hey, I say go for it too. But let them know how they can follow or find you on your social media.
So you can follow me at Her Story, like history, but HERStoryMuvas, MUVAS, Mothers, not mothers, not moms, not mothers, not mothers, HERStoryMuvas. I am on Instagram right now. However, like I said, I have so much stuff in store for this platform. So once I get, I'm literally learning as I go, like the editing apps, video editing apps, picture editing apps, like I'm learning as I go. So as I begin to grow, I'll add more things. I do plan on doing a YouTube. Everybody keeps telling me do YouTube because they love Dylan. Like my 3-year-old is popping, y'all. Like the 3 viral videos
campaigns.
Listen, the 3 viral videos that I have, Dylan are in all 3 of them.
She's a mini you.
So yeah. But yeah, so right now it's just Instagram. I do have an Amazon Associate store. Link is in my bio. I'm currently adding stuff to that, but it's a few toddler toys on there. It's some breastfeeding stuff, and it's also some books for brown girls and boys. But yeah, that's where I am right now. But I will add my other tags as I get them to my personal page. But yeah, follow me at HERStoryMuvas, Mother Lainey, Mother Influencer.
And I'll be linking her Instagram in the bio area of
description.
the show, so you all will be able to click from there as well. But Lainey, the boss mom, appreciates you.
I appreciate you.
And you guys make sure y'all tune in with her. But we are going to head out. This is season 3, episode 3, new location, new life. Who's this? Hope you ladies were able to connect and get some great tips and just go for it. So as always, stay motivated and stay bossy, and I will see you ladies next time.
Hey ladies, if you enjoyed today's episode, do me a favor and leave a 5-star rating and review. You can find the Boss Mom Movement streaming on Apple and Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and YouTube. Want to keep up with the movement? Visit my website at thebossmommovement.com and subscribe. Thanks for the support, and I'll see you next time.